Today on the Brad Link, we're talking all about how to survive your wedding, especially if it's right smack dab in the middle of football season. So if your fiance loves football just a teeny tiny bit less than they love you might have an issue if you're trying to plan a fall wedding during football season, especially when you're trying to pick a date and make sure everybody will attend your wedding instead of the football game. There are a few things that you should be aware of and expect if you're planning a football season wedding. First, expect some diehard football fans to RSVP no to attending your event. If your wedding falls on a big game day, especially if you're in the middle of a football town, you might have some people that opt to go to the football game instead. Don't take it to heart. The people that want to be there and that you really need to be there will be, but some people with season tickets or that just love a good tailgate and a good football game will opt for the game instead of your event. Next, you really need to be aware of the way that hotels book up if you are in a football town and it's going to be a game day on your wedding, especially if your venue happens to be close to where the game is taking place. Be aware that some of the hotels might already be booked up and some might not allow you to book a block of rooms in reservation for your wedding guests. Also, you need to be really aware that traffic can be a major issue. If you're hosting your wedding at a venue close to where the football game is taking place, be mindful about the times when things are going to start. You want to make sure that you don't send your guests into a giant traffic jam right before your ceremony starts. Parking can also be an issue depending on how close you are to where the football game is taking place. You can talk to your venue about if they have private parking that they offer or a specific lot where football fans are not allowed to park and it's set aside only for your guests. Next, you might expect some of your guests to attend your wedding and be fully immersed in the event that you planned. But if it's a big game day, you might notice a small corner where some guys are gathered around an iPhone whispering to each other, checking the score. Don't be upset if this happens. I see it often as a wedding planner where some people will ask for the Wi-Fi password and they'll stream the game on their phones during the reception. People are usually pretty respectful during the ceremony, but quite often I do see some sports fans, football, baseball, soccer, it doesn't matter, always checking the score and maybe watching a little bit of the game at the actual wedding. It happens. It's not something you're going to be able to stop, so just be mindful of it. If having your wedding during the football season is a really big issue for you, there's a few things that you could do to mitigate it. One is work around football season. Don't have a fall wedding. If your fiance loves football, maybe it would be better off for you to do a wedding in the winter, spring, or summer when they can be a little bit more focused on what's taking place between the two of you. You could also opt to have your wedding on a day where football doesn't take place. I love a good weekday wedding, and you could love the amount of money you might save from hiring your vendors on an off-peak day. Next, you should try to plan your fall wedding on a bye week whenever the football team in your local area is not playing that week. I will warn you though, a lot of people use this secret to try to make sure that football doesn't interfere with their wedding day, and so that means venues get booked up really quickly on bye weeks, as well as some of the other vendors. And I would never expect any discounts on a bye week because you're looking at one of the peak days for wedding season in the fall. Also, it's going to be a little bit harder to get the vendor that you want because they will book up really quickly. Next, you can embrace the football thing and set up a TV during your cocktail hour and allow your guests and the football fans to watch a little bit of the game while you're taking photos with your family and wedding party during cocktail hour. However, we both know that a football game will last a little bit longer than 45 minutes to an hour that you have for cocktail hour, so that TV might be a distraction during things like dinner, toast, cake, and dancing, where you have a lot of the football fans gathering around the television set instead of gathering around the two of you. The other thing you can do is just embrace the football theme. Here in Vol Country, where we're at the University of Tennessee, it's not rare that I see orange and white weddings and I'll see things like orange and white pom-poms instead of a sparkler exit. If you're a big football fan, you can make it part of your wedding theme and embrace the entire thing. For more expert wedding planning advice, follow us at The Bride Link.